Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is finally going to be a meet my son video. So the last videos I was doing, I was obviously pregnant and this was a good few months ago. My son is actually almost 4 months now, so yeah, it's been a long time. So I'm very sorry to all of my older subscribers that have been waiting, and also hello and sorry to all of my new subscribers because I've got quite a few new ones recently. Thank you for staying with me, thank you for subscribing, and yeah, so let's just get straight into meeting my son. I'm going to talk a bit about his birth and just how he's been progressing with, milestones, and just like what type of a baby he is. So yeah, so first of all, sorry, by the way, if I keep playing with my hair, or it's really hot here in the UK. It's almost 30 degrees. I don't know Celsius, so I don't know how much that is in Fahrenheit, but for us in England that is very hot. So yeah, sorry. So his name is Rio. I'll talk maybe a bit about why we chose that name, but first of all, let's just show you him because I know you guys are probably going to want to see him. So, wait a minute, let me get him properly. So here is my little baby boy. So I'll just show you how big he is. He's a very big boy. There he is, my little chunky boy. Show you a little close up of his face. Hello, can you smile? Can you smile? No? Smile? No. Okay, so I'll keep him in here in view a little bit, but then I'm going to put him down because he's very heavy. So the reason we decided to go with Rio is, well, first of all, we really liked Leo. We liked Leo because, well, we just liked the sound of the name, but we also liked the fact that it kind of coincided with lions. We like nature names, so our daughter is called, well, she's called Liliana, but we chose that name so that we could call her Lily for short, and her second name is Blossom. So we wanted to carry on with the theme of naturey names because my name is Jasmine, which is also a flower, and yeah. So we liked Leo, but then we kind of wanted a bit more of a unique one because quite a lot of people are called Leo. I'm going to put him down now, so I'll show you him again in a minute, but say goodbye. So, we liked Leo, but we wanted something a little bit more unique, so I was looking up on Google loads of things what sounds like Leo, and yeah, we came across Rio. And I don't know if you guys know the Duran Duran song called Rio. That song is about a girl because Rio is a kind of, it can be a boy or a girl's name. Okay guys, sorry about that, I'm a little bit low because I'm having to feed him now because he's a bit hungry. But yeah, so we had the name Rio. Hardly anybody liked it, to be honest. All of friends and family members just didn't like it, but I really liked it, and so did my partner, and it means river in Spanish, and because we grew up in Spain as well, me and my partner, we liked the Spanish kind of link to it. We also, river, nature, we liked that about it. Yeah, so his name is Rio. So now let's get into his birth story. He was due on the 18th. Now, about a week before he was due, I was a bit concerned because I was getting reduced movements, or I thought I was. I thought I couldn't feel him very much. So I went to the doctors, or I went to the hospital. They put a monitor thing on me and everything. It turned out he was fine. He was just being lazy that day. But because it was only 6 days into my due date, the midwife said, do you want us to just perform a sweep on you right now? Because you're basically at your due date, and if you're worried about movements and that, you might as well just get him out, and it'll be fine. Well, she also offered if I wanted to be induced, and I was like, no, I don't want to be induced. He's still got a week to come, I'm just gonna leave it, but yeah, I'll happily have a sweep. Now with my daughter, I had one sweep and she was born that night. So when she said this to me, the midwife, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm having him tonight. I was not expecting this. But I was like, well, do you know what, let's just do it. So I had a sweep, nothing happened. So then I booked for another sweep for a few days later. I had another sweep and still nothing, it didn't work. So then it went past his due date and I was just getting a bit impatient, like, oh, come on, when are you coming? So it got to the 22nd of March, so he was due on the 18th, I believe it was, so a little bit later, and I had my third sweep. So nothing happened. First of all, I think I had it about midday, maybe a bit later than midday, and I went home, nothing happened, I went to sleep. Oh, sorry, actually, before I went to sleep, I did some maternity kind of labour-inducing yoga because I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to try anything because I want him to come out. So I did this yoga and I went to sleep. Now, in my sleep, I was having a dream that I was giving birth, but I was feeling the contractions, I was screaming, and yes, then I woke up and I was like, God, that was a really intense dream. But then I started having contractions and I thought, oh, I think I was just having contractions in my sleep and I thought it was a dream. So I was having contractions and they were already about between 8, I started timing them, and they were between 8 and 5 minutes apart. They were kind of, you know, a bit all over the place, but definitely less than 10 minutes apart. So I wanted my mum to be a birth partner. I wanted my boyfriend and my mum to be in the room with me. So I called my mum because she lives about an hour and a half away, and I said, look, I don't want to make it like a false alarm, but I think he might be coming because I'm having like quite regular contractions. Do you want to come down? And she said, yeah, okay. So as we were waiting for her to come down, I went to the toilet and I wiped and there was a load of blood. And I got really freaked out, obviously, because you're not really supposed to have like a load of blood coming out when you're in labour. So I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? I need to go to the hospital. So I called the hospital. They were like, yeah, we'll just check you. You know, it might be nothing, or it might just be because of the contractions, it's making you bleed. But yeah, we should definitely check you out. So it was about 11 o'clock. My mum turned up just in time as we were leaving for the hospital. We got to the hospital about 11:30. We go there, they strap me up on the monitor thing just to make sure he was okay. And yeah, and they left me there for like a good half an hour just to monitor how everything was going on inside. And then they came and they checked me down there and they said, oh, it doesn't look like it's like very, doesn't look like it's bad bleeding, if you know what I mean, like it's not coming from a bad place. They thought, oh, it was just my cervix opening. And they were like, well, while we're down here, we're just going to check how dilated you are. So they check me and then the midwife goes, oh, I think we should take you to the labour ward. And I was like, okay, why? And she was like, because you're 8 centimetres dilated. And I was like, what? If you've never had a baby before, once you're 10 centimetres dilated, you're basically there, you basically have to push and your baby's going to come out. So I was just like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realise I was in like full on labour. And now I'm 8 centimetres dilated because I was having contractions, but like I was breathing through them. I thought they were like kind of start contractions, you know, like beginning of labour contractions. And so when she told me that, I was like, oh my goodness. And she was like, she saw I was having like contractions on the monitor thing, but she was like, well, you haven't been screaming or anything, like, can you feel these? And I was like, yeah, I can, but they're not that bad, like I can still talk through them. And so this other midwife came in and was like, oh, if your contractions aren't that strong, but you're already 8 centimetres dilated, I think we should break your waters for you to kickstart things because maybe your body's not contracted as strong as it should be. So I was like, yeah, okay, do whatever you need to do. So they rushed me to the labour ward, and another midwife who was going to deliver the baby was there. They told her, oh, we want to break her waters, blah, 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 and they left. And then this midwife that was going to do the delivery was like, do you know what, I don't want to mess about with anything. I just think maybe your body's handling the contractions really well, and I think we should just carry on naturally and see what happens. So, in the labour room, I literally just, the contractions by then were getting worse. Once I got to the labour room, I couldn't talk through the contractions. I had to stop, you know, breathe through them. But this midwife was so lovely. She was, you know, she was just being really calm, and she was just saying, look, your body knows exactly what it's doing. All you need to do is just focus on breathing. Breathe through the pain. Don't think about anything else, just breathe through the pain. So that's what I did. I felt like I was a lot calmer in this birth than I was with my daughters. My daughters wasn't a bad birth by any means. I only had gas and air, and she came relatively quickly, and there wasn't really any complications. I just bled quite a bit afterwards. But yeah, I just felt really like in the zone with this birth, his birth, and so I was just concentrating on breathing and concentrating on just getting through each contraction. And because my body was so kind of calm, I feel, I could genuinely feel him or a pressure getting lower and lower. So I knew like it was working. And I was stood up at this point and kind of like leant over the bed. And the midwife goes, "Would you like to lie down?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll try lying down." As soon as I lied down, I felt the pressure on my back, and I felt like it was kind of blocking his exit type thing, because obviously if you're leaning on kind of your back and your pelvis, you're kind of stopping the head and the body coming out, because that's where it needs to come out. So I was like, no, I really don't like this. And so she goes, "Okay, well, do you want to go on all fours on the bed?" I said, "Yeah, that sounds good." I went on all fours. I had one more contraction, and all of a sudden my sack of waters just like popped out on its own. I didn't push it, my body literally just pushed it out on itself, and I was like, oh my goodness, something's come out. At the moment I wasn't really sure what come out. I was like, I'm just gonna push now because something's come out. I pushed and I could feel his head coming out, so I pushed obviously the hardest I could, his head come out, and I pushed one more time and his whole body just flew out. Flew out. So basically like 1.5 pushes, he was out, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I did not expect that. He was born at 1:20, so he'd literally been in the hospital since they checked me, since, you know, they checked my dilation, since they had me on the monitor, up to he was born. It was less than 2 hours, and I was just like, oh my goodness. I came here just to get checked because of the blood. I didn't even know I was in labour, basically. I thought it was at like very early stages, and he's been born, and it was just such a natural kind of, I don't know how to explain it, like in a weird way, I felt like I was just like an animal, you know, like an animal out in nature giving birth the natural way. I didn't have like any gas in there, I didn't have anything, I just breathed through it, and I just felt like nature and my body did it for me. Obviously it was painful, but you know, I would say like I couldn't have asked for a better birth really. It was really good. So yeah, so that was his birth. He didn't cry for ages, and I was getting really worried, and the midwives were kind of like, "Oh, come on baby, cry," and I was like, oh my goodness, please don't tell me like he's not friggin' breathing. But obviously he did in the end, and the midwife said he was probably just really shocked, because he literally just flew out. But yeah, so he weighed 7 pounds 5. I don't know how many kilos that is, I'm sorry. My daughter was 7 pound 15, so he was slightly smaller than my daughter. He was born exactly the same as my daughter, 6 days late. And yeah, it was just overall a really good experience. So yeah, so that was my birth. So now let's get on to, I suppose, what he's been doing, like how he is, like what type of a baby he is, and his personality and things like that. So he's an extremely smiley baby. I'll lift him up again to try and show you. He's an extremely smiley baby. I'll try and get him to smile for you. Can you smile? Can you smile? Go on. You say hello? Hey? Oh, can you smile? What are you doing? Can you smile? No? But yes, he's a very smiley baby. He's a very placid baby. Compared to my daughter, he's just very chilled out. He sleeps so much more than she did. He sleeps still pretty much like, about 4 months old, he's still sleeping about 60% of the day, I'd say. He falls asleep on his own, sucking his fingers, which is so sweet, because my daughter never was able to like self-soothe. She always had to have me. But he just self-soothes and he falls asleep on his own, and it's so sweet. And sometimes I feel really bad that I wasn't there to comfort him to sleep, but he seems okay with it. So yeah, has not been a sicky baby at all. My daughter was really sicky the first few months. He, you know, spits up like an average baby, but he really is not very sicky at all. He's quite a poopy baby. He poops quite a lot, a bit more than I feel like my daughter did. Yes. So for Milestones, as I said, he's smiling a lot. I think he started smiling at like 6 weeks maybe. And yeah, he's a very lazy baby, I would feel. Like, he likes just lying on his front. To be fair though, he's been trying to roll over for quite a long time actually, and when you put him down he always just rolls on his side. He has rolled from back to front and front to back once each already. What else? He tries to speak quite a lot, you know, making those little googly sounds. He's very fair in comparison to, well, me, my partner and my daughter. If you can see, he's got like, it's like a very light brown hair, and he doesn't have much hair either. He also hardly has no hair on his body at all, which for our family, which is quite a hairy family, is quite surprising. I think he's going to have brown eyes. He was obviously born with blue, but I think he's going to have brown eyes. Yeah. And yeah, he is a very heavy baby. In the first 3 weeks, he put on about a pound each. He put on like almost 4 pounds in the first 3 weeks. So he's very large. He's been in 3 to 6 month clothes for a good few weeks. And I don't think they're going to fit much longer either, to be honest. This is quite baggy, but a lot of like his like onesie things, it's already quite a struggle to like pop them at the bottom. I don't know if he's got a long torso or something, but yeah, he's a very heavy baby, and just a big boy in general. But he's just the sweetest little boy, and yeah, hello. Oh, and also he's been teething since about 3 months. He's got, you know, his first 2 teeth coming out the bottom. So yeah, he's teething a lot earlier than I think my daughter did. So yeah, so he's been struggling with that a bit, bless him. That's pretty much the only time he cries. But yeah, he also sleeps very well through the night, apart from when he's teething really bad and it affects his sleep. In, you know, on normal nights, he literally wakes up maybe once or twice, so he's really good at sleeping. Again, in contrast to my daughter, who's a terrible sleeper. And you love the water. We've been having baths together. He doesn't really go in his baby bath anymore. He comes with us in our big bath, and he loves splashing about, don't you? So yes. So there we go, guys. I'm sorry this video took so long, but I hope, you know, it was okay. I know it's a bit of like, you know, a bit of a chaos, but that's how it has to be. But yes, thank you very much for watching. It's a shame. I was going to say maybe I should do a postpartum, like kind of post-birth belly shot, but it's kind of gone past that, hasn't it? Now well, I say he's 4 months. He's going to be 16 weeks in 2 days' time. So that's technically 4 months, but if you want to go by the date of like the actual month, he will be, today is the 10th of July, and he'll be 4 months on the 23rd if you go by that. But by weeks, he's going to be 4 months in like 2 days. But yes, sorry that I was touching my hair, but it's so blooming hot. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for sticking with me. And yes, I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.